Hey there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest CSI challenge layout. CSI stands for Color Stories Inspiration and this is case file 380. I'll tell you more about the challenge in a second. So you may notice that the video's already started. I'm scrapping this challenge in an A4 size just to make it easier to store them. I'm finding that my 12x12s are taking over. And in the UK it's not so easy to get hold of the 12x12 albums. So I'm trying to do a few more A4 layouts this year. Anyway, for this layout I'm using the image and the colours on the right as inspiration. Mainly the image, which is all about friendship. And the photograph that you can see is of me and a group of friends that meet on a regular basis and go for weekend retreats to scrapbook together. And if it wasn't for scrapbooking, these ladies wouldn't be in my life, and I can't imagine my life without them. So they definitely need to be immortalised on a scrapbook layout. So I've decided I'm going to add a little bit of stenciling to the background. This is a Vicky Bootin stenciling, and I'm using a couple of Distress Oxides and some finger daubers. You'll find that all the supplies I'm using mainly are from Vicky Bootin ranges. I tend to keep all my Vicky Bootin supplies apart from the latest range altogether. So some of these papers are all bits of papers, so I may not have the manufacturer strip to know exactly which of the ranges they're from or what they were called. But I do tend to keep, as I say, all the Vicky Bootin stuff together in a box, so that if I fancy it, and I really did for this, I can get the box out and work my way through. I like to use up my supplies, so they're not all necessarily very recent. I think I've bought something from all of her collections over the years, and I've been very lucky to actually meet her, which was just awesome. It really was. But anyway, going back to this, so I'm using this stencil. I'm not using it in its entirety. I'm just going in and stenciling some bits through it. It's very subtle in shades of blue and green. It just breaks up that white cardstock, and it's got like a bit of like a trellis look to it. I quite like how that's looking through that stencil. Obviously I'm going to cover most of it up, isn't it always the way when you do any mixed media, but I do like the look it's given. So back in with the photo, I'm going to have that at the top, and I'm going to map that on a number of papers in shades of blue and green that are, as I say, leftovers. I don't think I actually cut into a single whole sheet of paper when I make this, which makes me feel better as well, that I'm actually using up some of the supplies that I love. And there are some really beautiful papers in the Vicky Bootin collections. So let me take you back to the challenge itself while I stick these down and layer the photo. So you'll find these challenges on both Facebook and on the blog, and also on Instagram. They basically, each challenge has a case file number. As I say, this is 380, and it provides lots of inspiration to get you scrapping. There'll be an image, there'll be some colours to choose from, something we call evidence, which is a long list of things that they'd like you to include in your layout. So for example, for this one, it talks about craft themed elements, hearts, dots, checkered pattern, flowers, leaves, trims, thread, bows, fabric, butterflies, pom-poms. There's a stitching, there's a huge list. So there's always something that will actually take your fancy or something you actually have. So there's me in the video double checking that list, thinking of what I want to include. The topic is mainly about friendship, and that's what the photo is about, but there's other things that could inspire you in the testimony, and I say the colours are there if you would like to follow those as well. It's really good to get you using up some of your own old stash. I think it works really well. Also to make you try mixing different stash together you wouldn't necessarily think of. So I've decided underneath this photograph I'm going to add some strips, so I've got them out roughly the way that I would like. So not only can you use the colours if you're going to play along, you can actually use neutrals as well, so black, beige, white, grey can be included in every challenge. So I've brought in a neutral, I've got some black, I've got some grey, and I've got some like a beigey brown. So they are absolutely fine to include as well. So I'm looking at building 3 cluster strips across the lower part of this layout. So if you remember the list I've just read out, Hearts was on that list. Butterflies were on that list. I am going to add some sewing. That's on that list. Dots. I've got some dotty paper there. That's also on this list. So also I've got a couple of pencils, which I would say were crafty themed elements. So normally would I add a pencil to this layout about our friendship? Maybe. I mean, we are crafters, but using the evidence for this challenge has actually made me cut out some pencils from the Vicky Booting paper and a tape measure as well there, and add them in. So I really would recommend, if you check out these challenges, it can actually give your mojo a bit of a kick and actually get you scrapping, because sometimes that's all we need, isn't it? A little bit of a boost to get us scrapbooking again. So I really like the fiddly process which goes with scrapbooking. I like making choices and moving things around until I'm happy. Speed has never been my thing, and in the old days it could take me days to do a layout. I would say I'm faster than that now, otherwise God forbid you sit through a video that would be hours and hours long, but actually I do enjoy the process. So I also have a fear of missing out when it comes to some of my supplies, so you'll find that I do look through, for example, all of these stickers, all of these chipboards, just having a think, see if there's anything I could add. One, I would like it used. There's no point it being on the sticker sheet. It might as well be in my album. And secondly, I feel like there's always going to be that embellishment that I've missed. So it's definitely worth me having a second look. If you have a look at the title, the word together, I think that's very apt for us. As a group, we don't meet that many times a year, but when we do, it's like we've never been away from each other. It's really good. It's one of those sorts of friendships. And that word together is an embellishment that I designed for the small embellishment shop that I run called Shenanigans. I'll leave a link to it in the words below the video. It's a 3D printed word. Also, you'll find the black heart is also from my embellishment range. So if you'd like to check that out, you're very welcome. I'd love you to pop over to my store. They're very inexpensive and very easy to use in scrapbooking and journaling, and they'd fit in TNs and planners, that sort of thing. So yeah, take a look if you would like. So I'm now actually getting quite happy with the way things are looking. I'm starting to actually adhere these down. So I'm just using a bit of wet glue to stick this Shenanigans word down over the top of that camera and over the photograph. And I think I'm going to add a butterfly just on some 3D foam there, just to draw your eye to that corner of the photograph. So that's another, as I say, there's two more, a white and a black Shenanigans heart gone on there. I ran that second cluster through a sewing machine. It's got some stitching running through it. As you see, they're completely made independently of the background. I find that much easier to build them, stick them, and then stick it down as an entirety, particularly if I want to use foam pads to do that. So they're all stick down. I'm going to just add a few splashes of white. This is just to break up some of the solid colours that are there, particularly with the teal green. So I've covered a photograph just with a bit of kitchen roll, and I just want to get in and around those embellishments, just as I say, to break up the colour. I hope you like what you see. Do check out these challenges over at CSI. They're a great kickstart for your mojo. And if you like what you see, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you here soon. Bye for now.